Particular subjects can do a lot to change a conversation. Whether you're speaking in person or chatting online, even a single word can either lead to a conversation dying off or spiraling out into a heated argument. There's a pretty common word that's very effective at doing both of those things: race. Now, here in the United States, that's a word that's bound to get a few people shifting around in their seats, and that shouldn't come as a surprise. Few subjects are so ingrained into our history that they remain a daily talking point in the present. With this hot button topic saturating social media and politics, it's inevitably influenced science and academics as well. As a result, the often negative and controversial connotations we carry with the word race are also carried over to those areas. Unfortunately, in many cases, the situation isn't so simple that race can be completely subtracted from the equation. So, are we doomed to have academics and science haunted by the same level of controversy we see in politics? Thankfully not, because even in the study of an area like forensic anthropology, where race plays a multifaceted role, the subject can be approached in a rational and scientific manner. However, to ensure we're all on the same page, we need to define what race is. We'll be using a definition from an article titled "Racial Identification in the Skull and Teeth" by Jody Blumenfield. Quote, "The term race describes populations, not individuals, and it implies that a population or group of populations is sufficiently different from all others in the species to be separately recognized." End quote. In other words, race is a way for different populations to be classified. And it's important to keep in mind that this is used in forensics for one purpose: identifying human skeletal remains, and that's the area we'll be delving into. Identifying the race of a human skeleton can be done in numerous ways. The most common is based on observations of the variations in the skull and face. In her article for the University of Western Ontario's Journal of Anthropology, Judy Blumenfield focuses on three primary racial classifications used in forensic anthropology: Caucasoid, white; Negroid, black; and Mongoloid, Asian. Among the most visible differences are in the cranial form. For example, a Caucasoid cranium is long in length, narrow in breadth, and high in height, while a Negroid cranium is long in length, narrow in breadth, and low in height. A Mongoloid cranium is long in length, but can frequently appear round instead of long. It is broader in breadth and average in height, typically being between the other two. And this is just one of the trait variations. The article cited is a systemic review, compiling past evidence from studies of craniofacial traits, leaving us with another reliable area for classification: facial prognathism, which is different for each three races. All of this just scratches the surface of the observable differences. In addition to the two areas we just saw, cranial form and facial prognathism, there are 13 other characteristics of the skull and face that the study focuses on. All that said, there are ways beyond these 15 that can help identify race from the skeleton, especially when a complete skull is unavailable. One particularly fascinating study uses logistic regression and multi-category logistic models of measurements from the talus bone in the foot, which was found to be able to correctly identify race 95% of the time. This is especially useful as the talus bone can be found wholly intact, whereas many other bones, including the skull, are not. Altogether, this widens the toolbox of forensic anthropologists by providing new and reliable ways to identify race from a skeleton. Despite race being key for identification in the work of a forensic anthropologist, there is a neutral and logical approach based in decades of research that can be utilized. Being distracted by controversies about race serves to hinder scientific progress. So, the next time you have to address race, whether that be in conversations with family, on social media, or in a professional field, you can influence that conversation and reduce the negative or inherently controversial connotations with race that many people have formed. And this is exactly how we can get on the path to progress.